So often we experience things in our life that are painful, but the amount of suffering that we experience is often associated with our perspective. And we do have a choice to flip our perspective, to look at what's happening from a higher perspective, to bring in more light, to really move us out of suffering. You know, pain is something that we experience, and to deny pain is to deny joy. It is just one of the dualities of experience that we have on this plane of existence. You know, we are here to feel the different polarities and then to find balance in the center. So we do experience pain, but experiencing suffering is really a choice. As we start to awaken, we can start to see that we can really just change our perspective slightly or completely to really move out of suffering. And this is not about deluding ourselves. This is about expanding and zooming out and seeing things from a higher perspective, understanding that often what if we just perceive things at the surface level, often we are not truly connecting to the truth of that experience. I'm going to give you an example of something that happened to me recently, because really I teach and bring through my healing codes, my activations through my own embodiment of experiencing it myself in my own reality. So very recently, I was planning something really special for myself and for a friend. And as it was getting closer to that, my friend really let me down, didn't just basically cut off communication and left me on unread for basically 3 weeks. So as that actually happened, and I realized, oh, they weren't going to be joining me on this experience that I'd planned for us, I went through a lot of different emotions. So I'm sure that you can perhaps resonate with this in your life in some way, shape, or form. So I'm faced with this, on the surface, I'm being cut off, I'm being unacknowledged, I'm feeling all these emotions of, oh my gosh, and I've told different people that I planned this special trip for me and my friend, and we're going on, and now I'm like, people are asking me, and I'm like, oh, it's not well, I'm still going. I was still going anyway, but I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to feel like a bit of a fool saying this to people. And then I thought to myself, hold on, I am not the fool here. So I started to shift my perspective, and I started to bring in the light and the truth. And because I've done so much work on my own self worth, I realized this is not about me. This action, or should I say non action, was not an actual reflection on my worth, was not an actual reflection on me. You know, I was in integrity, I was in my truth, authenticity, and actually the other person was actually the one that had stepped out of integrity, and that was actually really, rather than me feeling disrespected, was actually disrespecting themselves. So I completely flipped the perspective and realized it wasn't me that was a fool, because I was studying my integrity. And as soon as I started to connect to it in that way, as soon as I started to see the truth, it was actually more of a reflection of their self-worth, their insecurities, the things that they were going through, that they didn't have the courage to communicate to me, that they didn't have the integrity to stand in truth, and communicate and face the fears. And this is not a judgment, so I don't say this in judgment, because we've all got our woundings, and we all have different experiences in life, and these woundings can show up in our interactions. But from my perspective, I flipped the switch, and from feeling all these emotions of feeling that I was being disrespected, in a way I was being disrespected, but really you can only disrespect yourself if you allow that behavior to continue, which is not something I would do anymore because I have done so much healing on my self-worth. So I don't entertain those kind of energies anymore, but I still had to process that emotion that was coming up from that action. But as soon as I turned on the light, opened up to a higher perspective, I could see that that reflection was not a reflection on me, but was actually about them. And I could choose not to interact with that and just really allow that to move through me. And it really made transmuting that energy, it happened so much quicker. So did I still go through some uncomfortable feelings and contemplate and have anger and things coming through my body? Yes, I did. And that is so natural to start feeling those things. But I very quickly started to transmute that. I very quickly flipped it, and I didn't feel bad about myself. I didn't feel that I was being rejected. I didn't feel that I was being abandoned. I didn't feel any of those things because I knew that wasn't the truth, and I didn't abandon myself. So I still went on that trip and I had the most amazing time. So I wanted to share that with you because I wanted to show how whatever we are experiencing, I thought it was going to go one way and it went a different way. And I can see now as I reflect how that has been such a massive gift for me because it has shown me so many things. It's shown me how much my self-worth has increased. Often we go through these lessons again because this is actually something that's happened to me before in the past, and it happened again. So I had to ask myself, where is my responsibility in this? Is there a pattern here that I needed to clear? But on deep reflection on that, I did find out it actually wasn't. However, what it did show me was it showed me how much growth I have been through. So often we'll go through an experience and then we'll go through it again to just show ourselves how much we have grown. Because in the past, if I'd have experienced this same experience, I might have started reaching out to that person. I might have started being wanting to know why, what happened, why aren't you communicating with me? But instead, I just thought, absolutely no. If you can't have that kind of level of decency for me, then I'm not going to put any more energy into that, and I'm going to focus back on myself and continue with what I'm going to do. So I could see how much growth I had been through, and it's beautiful to see, and it allowed me to heal other things that were surfacing. So I can sit now and also, like I say, even though in my mind I had this idea of this experience and I thought all these, and honestly that could have been a pathway. I held the door open for that pathway to open up, and that person didn't choose to step into it, but I still went on that path, and that was my highest path, and I got so many gifts on that path. So I can look back now and see that. So that is the same for you. When we start to realize that everything that we experience holds these gifts for us, and if we start to switch the perspective, then we might still feel a bit of pain, a bit of disappointment, but we don't have to suffer through it. We don't have to internalize other people's insecurities, other people's traumas as our own, because it's not ours to carry, because we've done that healing, so we can just leave that to them to process. So I hope that what I've shared with you resonates in some way. Perhaps if you're watching this, you're going through a similar something's happened to you as well, and you just need to flip that perspective slightly. That is the power that we hold as we start to observe our experiences. We start to realize that there is always if we start to realize there's a lesson, there's something that we can learn from this, or something that we're being asked to see from it. And as we start to connect to that, we start to flip that perspective, then we no longer need to really suffer, and we can start to really transmute those experiences really quickly and to grow and expand even further.